This is a 9th ICSE class, right? All of you got the books? Okay, because जाने के पहले ये तो नहीं ये लगा तो ठीक है मैं कर दिए लगा पीछे जाओगे ओके है okay so 9th ICSE class this is the first science class for you no first science class I'll be taking the biology portion I'm Shomita I'll be taking the biology portion it's not point all of it not point तुम भी same grade से हो not point the rest 4 not point अच्छा 4 class से तुम आए हो इधर stay here Question started in your school?
I started.
Which chapter?
7. After school is starting tomorrow.
School is starting on Thursday. Same, not one. So that is what I wanted to know because 9th ICSE batches, 10th ICSE is a mixed batch. So, कौन सा chapter? Because mostly we start with the first chapter. As and when there will be requirements, as and when we go on with the chapters, as and when your school exams are being declared, no? Keep intimating us at least 1 to 2 weeks before. This being the first class, this being the first lecture, certain things let us talk about. First and foremost, I being a faculty, welcome all of you here. And I hope that you will really get a lot of help apart from your school teaching. That is what we always do. But in order to get the maximum help, first and foremost, you have to be very regular. एक दिन लेक्चर लिया, फिर 2 दिन एब्सेंट है, because हमारे यहाँ पे in that 4 lecture chapter खत्म हो जाएगा. Unlike your schools, एक chapter 15 दिन तक, because in your school the lectures are hardly for 40 minutes, no? 40 minutes we take in school. Here 1 hour, maybe in the month of May 1.5 hour भी हो सकता है. So in 1.5 hour will teach a lot. तो 4 hours में अगर तुमने 1-2 lecture भी miss किया, so in that 3 hours 70% of the chapter is finished. Try and listen until you have some medical issues, health issues, तब तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Emergency है तुम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Other than that, marriage है, birthday party है, don't miss the lectures. After that, see, attending the lecture together in the class. क्योंकि ये कुछ पूछ रहा है, वो कुछ पूछ रहा है, उससे तुमको भी gain हो रहा है ना. Other than that, yes, if you miss the lecture, we will do it again. और 4 बच्चे अगर miss कर भी do it, but that will be a different one. वो एक थोड़ा सा highlights जैसे रहेगा, पूरा detail तो नहीं हो पाएगा. Number 1, don't miss lectures. Number 2, जो भी homeworks, assignments हम देंगे, करके आना है. स्कूल में टेस्ट था, I become deaf to all those things. स्कूल में टेस्ट है, एग्जाम है, असेसमेंट है, प्रैक्टिकल वर्क सबमिट करने the common things that we hear. In the 9th standard, we should know first and foremost time management सीखना पड़ेगा. Do you all only go to school? Extra curricular कुछ करते हो? Attendance sheet साइन हो गया? सबने साइन किया? लेके नहीं बैठना है, फटाफट फटाफट पास करना है एंड मेक द पॉइंट. You don't get it, you ask for it. So what I was saying that you should find out time for your school studies. That is primary, of course. You should find time for the assignments and the homeworks and the study records for this organization also. If you are not following, can you expect that you do the best of the results for what you are here? Try to नहीं हो पाएगा. You have to go ahead of school. स्कूल के साथ साथ यूटी का भी सारे असाइनमेंट्स, होमवर्क्स जो हम पढ़ने के लिए देंगे, that also you have to get prepared with. Common excuses है, मैम होमवर्क किया था गाड़ी में रह गया, मैम होमवर्क किया था टेबल में छूट गया, जल्दी जल्दी में आया हूँ. That's two of those things. You will have to do it. बाहर बैठ के तुमको होमवर्क करके फिर तुम क्लास में आओ. Clear, no? Yeah, pass it on. Give it. And next is textbooks. All of you follow Selena. Oda follow Selena. अरे बाप रे, उनका रास्ता पता है? Selena, हमारा Selena है. Who is from Oda? You are from Oda, no? Who are from Oda? You are only अकेला. Oda follow Selena. देखना जाके बुक का शक्ल कि अभी तक बुक आया नहीं है घर पे. पूरा स्टॉक आया नहीं है. So far I remember they follow Selena. Check your book. However, if all of you are having, I think Avalon Heights or Ratio School, still they are following another book. In that case, you have to bring your book every day to school. I'm sorry, yeah, for every lecture to bring that. Because the exercises in your book, especially for Selena, is not a problem because most of the children will have the same book. Those of you are having the other textbook, क्योंकि उसमें syllabus तो more or less covered है, additional भी बहुत सारे questions रहते हैं. That your school will solve. You have a doubt, confusion, you'll also try to solve it here. उसको घर पे सजा के नहीं रखना है, यहाँ पे लेके आना है. Whenever there is a lecture, get your textbook, UT volume, and a notebook. The fourth point, notebook should be a proper notebook. Encyclopedia नहीं, 2 पेज मैथ्स का, 2 पेज केमिस्ट्री का, ऐसा नहीं चाहिए. Proper subject wise notebook जैसे तुम स्कूल में मेंटेन करते. क्यों? यहाँ पे हम additional काफी सारे questions करेंगे. I'll give you certain assignments to do in the class, do at home. So वो तुम्हारे एग्जाम के लिए एक ready reference होगा. क्योंकि एग्जाम के पहले वैसे भी आधे चीज तो पढ़े हुए नहीं रहते हो, तो नया पढ़ते हो एग्जाम के टाइम पे. हाँ सच बोल रहे हो. हाँ ये तो होता है. And on top of that, if you don't have the proper notebook जो यूपी में भी है, कोई फायदा नहीं है. इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस मैथ्स के, केमिस्ट्री के, फिजिक्स के, बायोलॉजी के टीचर्स ने कराया है, बट यू डोंट हैव अ प्रॉपर नोटबुक. तो वो ढूंढने में तुम्हारा टाइम की आगे कुछ मिल नहीं रहा है, उसको साइड में रखो. अल्टीमेटली यू डू नॉट गेट एनी बेनिफिट्स. ये 4 चीज आई वांट यू टू फॉलो द एंटायर सेशन. ठीक है? एक तो रेगुलरिटी, टेक्स्ट बुक नोटबुक लाना, होमवर्क असाइनमेंट टाइम पे करके आना. मैं होमवर्क कर रहा था, पानी गिर गया, ऐसे भी बच्चे एक्सक्यूज देते हैं. कुछ नहीं बोलना है. नहीं करोगे, आसपास रहोगे तो घर जाओगे, नोटबुक लाओगे, फिर मुझे दिखाओगे. ओके, चलो we'll start with. Now those of you have the textbook, I think already you are acquainted. ये मालूम है कौन taking out a textbook या तो जो भी वॉल्यूम मिला है अभी. You can start with the first chapter, that is cell. We'll start with that chapter. Great. So first of all, what are we going to start with is, today we talk about the first chapter. What is the first chapter? The first chapter is the fundamental unit. The fundamental unit. Cell. ये लगा के देना है। ये open नहीं हुआ। क्या आपके location सही नहीं है? हाँ. Now, when we are talking about cell, let us learn about this chapter today. I'll show you some important images also. When we are talking about the chapter cell, when we talk about the chapter cell, in your syllabus, there's a detailed concept about the chapter cell. First of all, to start with this word, not a new word for you, right? You've already heard about this word cell. So if I ask you certain questions, something like, where do we find a cell? What is the answer?
Animals, plants.
हाँ, एक word में बोलोगे तो? In one word? Organisms में, living organisms में, couple of words. So whenever we are talking about a cell, where do we find? Do we find the cell everywhere? No, that answer is not correct. We don't find the cell everywhere. We find the cell in all living organisms. In all living organisms. Then what are the major components? What are the major components of a cell? What are the major components? The major components of a cell are, if we talk about the major components of a cell are, we learn all these in detail. We talk about the cytoplasm and the nucleus. The word cell and some of these concepts already you had learned in the 6th, 7th, 8th, no? So whenever we talk about the major components, what are the major components? Major components are cytoplasm and nucleus. कहाँ पे रहता है? Cytoplasm and nucleus. I am talking about the animal cell. I am talking about a cell. Cytoplasm कहाँ पे? Nucleus कहाँ पे? The central region is more or less in an animal cell known to be the nucleus. The central region and the surrounding region, which is nothing but matrix. Matrix, when I say matrix, what do you understand? A semi-fluid substance. A semi-fluid substance. This is not made up of any living component. So this region is cytoplasm and this region is nucleus. But what is present in the nucleus and which is the living component of the cell? What is present in the nucleus? A large number of thread-like structures. We'll go to that later, but first and foremost, we try to understand where is a cell found? What is a cell? What are its components? Now, as I said, what is a cell? Then next, we try to come across. What is a cell? Functional unit of life. We generally say the major and the simplest and the most commonest definition of the word cell is. What is a cell? When we have to define this word, what do we say? The structural and the functional unit. The structural and the functional unit. Now, what is the meaning of this word? We are going to learn these two major words. Why are these words used? Structural and functional unit. Why are they as such used? Let us learn with several examples. Cell is known as the structural and functional unit of living organisms. You answer. I talk about certain examples. Let us talk about the human body first. Then we go to some other examples. I talk about the human body. In the human body, I talk about the heart. Made up of a specific type of muscle cells. Cardiac muscle cells. Correct. Lungs. Made up of some balloon-shaped cells, actually known as alveolus. Alveoli. Let's study earlier. So again, these are cells, no spongy cells. What else? I may take up some parts of the plants. Let me talk about parts of the plants. The stem. But now, when I talk about the stem is not made up of only one type of cell. The stem is made up of some 2-3 different types of cells. Isn't there something like in the human body? Yes, in the human body, I can talk about the stomach. The stomach, unlike the lungs and the heart, is not made up of only one type of cells, but made up of 2-3 different types of cells. But whatever it is, this type of cell gives the structural form. These cells that I mentioned just now, the cardiac muscle cells, give the proper shape, form to the structure, to the organ. The alveolus, which are basic cells, epithelial cells, they give the basic shape, form, structure to that organ. Stem, when I talk the word stem for a plant, there are various different types of cells. I may talk about the vessels and the trapeze, parenchyma, etc., etc. We learn all these things in the chapter issues. So, यहाँ पे एक 4-5 तरह के cells are giving the shape and the form and the structure. But जो भी हो, 4-5 तरह के cells involved हो कि एक तरह के cells involved हो, सारे लगभग एक ही function perform कर रहे हैं. तो वैसे तो when I talk about any particular group of cells, they are designed in such a way to suit a particular function. Let us talk about heart cells. What are they designed for? They are designed for pumping of blood. What are the cells of the lungs designed for? They are designed for gas exchange. What are the cells of the stem designed for? They are designed for transport of food and water in the plant. Stomach cells, what are they designed for? To release enzymes for the process of digestion. So यहाँ पे देखो, whenever we are talking about the concept of structural and functional unit, यहाँ पे what are we understanding? 2-3 types of cells forming a basic shape, structure, form to suit a function. हाँ, कभी ये 2-4 तरह के cells भी हो सकते हैं, कभी ये एक तरह के cells भी हो सकते हैं. Let us write down. Take out your notebook. We start with this concept. The first is. Let us start. Write down the name of the chapter. Say, put the heading first. Write down the name of the chapter. write down the name of the chapter, and now we talk about the concept of cells. We are talking about cells. Can you see from that last bench again? So now that we are talking about the concept of cell, I start with the first concept. Define the word cell or define a cell. We start with this. Define a cell as handwriting improve. Smart handwriting की smart होनी चाहिए. जैसे जैसे बड़े हो रहे हो ब्रांडेड कपड़े चाहिए, हाँ जीन्स चाहिए, स्नीकर्स चाहिए, शूज, जब सारे चीज इतने अच्छे चाहिए तो हैंडराइटिंग भी तो अच्छा चाहिए ना. The way you write, the answer quality, everything should improve now, no? In the 9th, 10th standard, make it a point. The way you write, answer should be short, answer should be crisp and to the point, and that should become a habit by the time you reach the 10th standard. The first, define the word cell. Answer likho. Cells are known as the structural and functional unit of cells are known as the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. Cells are known as the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. Okay, now let us try to explain. Kafi baar you will get a question like this. Explain the statement. Cells are the structural and functional unit. So I'll give it together. Explain the statement. The definition तो बहुत ही common एक question है in the paper 1 mark. Define cell. What do you understand by the word cell? बहुत common question है. और काफी बार explanation भी आता है. Define the word cell and explain the statement. चलो next paragraph लिखो. Cells are known as the structural unit. Cells are known as the structural unit because cells are known as the structural unit because cells are known as the structural unit because they form they give, not form, they give shape, form, and structure. Form, F-O-R-M. They give shape, form, and structure to an organ. Stop. So what do you understand by the statement that we have written just now? This sentence that we have written just now. Why are cells known as a structural unit? Because cells generally give a proper structure. Cells are responsible for a particular form meaning shape and structure. Cells are responsible for the framework, right? So that is why we say cells are the structural units. Now, whenever I am talking about stems, the stem cells, that's what I said, cells are giving a particular form. What does that mean? If I talk about the stem portion of a plant, we don't generally come across that the cells are spherical like this. No. The cells are generally long. The cells are generally long. Q. Why? Stem ke cells. 4 major types of cells are there in the plant cells. You will understand later the plant stem. So ये spherical क्यों नहीं है? Why are they long and elongated? ताकि ट्रांसपोर्ट फटाफट हो सके. एंड स्फेरिकल अगर होता तो ऐसे तो काफी सारे सेल्स की जरूरत भी पड़ता है एंड देन द प्रोसेस ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन वुड हैव बीन स्लोअर. अच्छा, heart का cells again when I talk about again it's a muscle cell, no, heart muscle cells. Again the structure of the heart cells are more or less like this. The individual heart cells are more or less like this. These are called cardiac muscle fibers. एक muscle fiber लंबे से काफी लंबे हैं. The length is quite considerable. So ऐसा क्यों? Because they have a property of contraction, relaxation, contraction, relaxation. तो इसी से तो pumping of the blood होती है. If I discuss every particular example, you will understand. एक particular structure बनाने में shape of the cells are also different. Stomach cell shape is different, heart cell shape is different, stem cell shape is different. So cells give a proper shape and structure. Cells are responsible for a proper shape and structure. अभी वही shape and structure ऐसा क्यों? क्यों some cells are spherical? Why some cells are elongated? Because they have to perform a specific function. अगर सारे cells हर part of the body में वही spherical होता, then different type of functions would not have been performed. And next sentence you write, cells are known as functional unit because 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 every cell is designed to suit S-U-I-T, to suit a definite function. Every cell is designed to suit a definite function. Let us write one example. For example, the cells of the lungs are involved. Cells of the lungs are involved. Cells of the lungs are involved and balloon shaped, which makes the lungs spongy, which makes the lungs spongy, and are suitable to carry out the process of क्या बोला था मैंने? What is the function of lungs? Function of lungs क्या है?
For gas
exchange of gases. To क्या दिया मैंने lungs में? To suitable to carry out the process of gaseous exchange, gas exchange. That is oxygen carbon dioxide. And after lungs क्या है? Spongy and suitable to make the lungs spongy and to carry out the process. of gaseous, GASEOUS, carry out the process of gaseous exchange. Gaseous exchange. ठीक है? तो ये तो एक एग्जांपल मैंने दिए, और भी काफी सारे एग्जांपल्स तुम लिख सकते हो. Cells of the stem in a plant are long elongated to help in the process of transport. Examples में भी काफी सारे examples हैं. So now that we talk about what are we learning, why are cells known as a structural and functional unit. Next is one more concept related to this we are going to learn is that we are talking about the concept of cells known as the structural and functional unit. Let me just go back to a particular related concept to study, that how did this word cell come into existence and who had done this. वैसे तो दिखाई दे रहा है तुमको, नहीं और होता नहीं है, so try that. फिर अभी मैं they have to unscrew this and do it again. अगर तुमको नहीं दिख रहा तो तुम इस बेंच में आ जाओ. दिख रहा है क्या? So now we first of all understand that famous biologists, I'll talk about this. Famous biologists, let's talk about this first. Famous biologists, what is his name? Bobby name?
I think so. I heard it been a long time.
Bobby name? 7th, 8th standard?
No, I think I heard his name in 7th, in 6th. But then like his name
6th की biology book में है, 7th की biology book में है. Robert Hooke. Who pointed on cell? Robert Hooke.
Because of those monastery things.
Plant cell gets studied. So long time back. Which year are we talking about? 1665. Long time back. At that time, this person, Robert Hooke, a very famous biologist, his theories and beliefs are even accepted today. So when we talk about this concept that yes, cells are the structural and the functional unit, this has actually come into existence after he had given many concepts about the word cell. So let us try to see that first. Somewhere around this period, what happened? Robert Hooke, a very famous biologist of his time, and even today, when we talk about his work, what was he more fascinated with? His experiments were majorly with plants at the time. His experiments were majorly with plants, and what did he start doing was he started observing the bark of the plants. He started observing the bark tissues, the stem, the old stem tissues of the plants, and then he observed that if these particular tissues are then fine sliced and then if it is being magnified, something like this is being observed. Something like this is being observed. So that is what he saw at this time, at his time. So something like this he saw. Then he was very fascinated and he kept on studying different parts, and then every time he saw that when this is sliced and fine thin slices are when put under the magnifying aid, he gets to see some hexagonal, compact, room-like structures. And he also found that something is there inside. Could he understand clearly what was there inside? No, he could not, because the magnifying aid at that period was not so very clear, and the resolution was very less as compared to the microscopes today. Today, the microscopes are even able to give us the details of the DNA that is there in our cells, in every structure of a cell, tissue. So many things. The detailed structure of a virus, bacteria, everything today. But to that period, the type of microscopes that he had was something like this. Simple microscopes. That is what it was called. Simple microscopes. Today, when we talk about the microscopes that we have, the developed microscopes that we have, it runs on electron beams. Can be used at any part of the laboratory, any part of the, any time of the day, irrespective of the environmental conditions, which anywhere, anytime you can use such type of microscopes, but they are very delicate and very. And also, if I talk about apart from the rest of the microscopes which give us a best resolution, the microscope that you have in your school labs, the microscope that you have, देखा कभी? पता है क्या बोलते हैं वो वाले microscopes को? Simple, compound. Compound का तो resolution थोड़ा ज़्यादा है, but फिर भी वो जो हमारे स्कूल लैब्स में जो माइक्रोस्कोप रहता है उसका भी रेजोल्यूशन ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं रहता है. That is almost hardly giving us a resolution of something around 1000 times nearly. And the electron microscope and the best sophisticated microscopes can give a resolution of even more than 2-3 lakh times. तभी तो जाके फाइन डिटेल्स हमें पता चल सकता है. And this type of microscopes at that time gave a resolution of only 100 to 200 times. मतलब एक छोटा सा ग्रेन यहाँ पे खाली इतना ही बड़ा दिखेगा. And in the compound microscopes in your school, it will look something this big. And in the electron microscopes, it will look something much more bigger. Light, reflection, काफी सारे properties. तो यहाँ पे तो वो सारे कुछ भी fineness नहीं था. This is one of the simplest microscopes that he himself made because he wanted to see the structures. This is Robert Hooke's microscope, जहाँ पे एक ही लेंस है. Even in your compound microscope जो स्कूल में रखा हुआ है उसमें 3 lenses रहता है. And magnification 10x का होता है, 40x का होता है, 100x का होता है. And IPs में हम और 100x लगा के additional मतलब 1000 तक पहुंच सकता है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं. So यहाँ पे देखो, the light source is something like the oil lamp. जब oil खत्म या lamp बुझ जाएगा फटाफट. वो भी दिन के टाइम पे you cannot work much. Also at night also there are limitations. So limitations बहुत है ना? Even the compound microscope that you have, if at all you have used or now 9-10 अगर use करोगे, your teacher will always ask you कि विंडो के सामने जाके देखो. Light reflection जितना ज़्यादा आएगा उतना clarity आएगा. ऐसे artificial light में इतना वो भी artificial light में हमको mirror पूरा adjust करना पड़ता है. जिस streak में आएगा light उसी में ज़्यादा अच्छा focus. ऐसा नहीं कि बस light जला लिया बैठ गया और अच्छी तरह से दिख रहा है, ऐसा नहीं है. So अपना वो compound microscope also we have to adjust so much. The more sophisticated the microscopes, better are the adjustments and better are the resolution. तो ये तो बहुत ही simple है as compared, है ना? बहुत ही simple microscope है and that was only giving him this much resolution that he could see that ये जो part है इसको जब magnify करो then some hexagonal structures you get to see, and inside there is something he said but he does not know what is there inside. उतना ही पता था. But he at that time said that these are something like compartments, something like honeycomb, something like boxes, little rooms, he said. This so in his language it was termed as cella. And from this word came the word cells. From this word came the word cells. What does the word cell actually mean? We say, no, the cells in the jail. The cells in the jail, the cells in an office. What does that word cells actually refer to there? Small cubicles, small rooms. क्योंकि Latin में cella का मतलब है little rooms, small boxes. So this is some of the classical concept. Now Robert Hooke was making this type of a microscope, and just get acquainted with this diagram. You have this diagram in your book also. What are the diagram in your textbook? ये तो volume में है कि नहीं? I'm not having the textbook.
Yes.
Take that. You are given this diagram in your paper, and you have to identify. If we given this diagram in the paper, and you have to identify. Robert Hooke's microscope. Robert Hooke's microscope. Read the paragraph. I want you to read this paragraph. Robert Hooke's microscope. अच्छा, इसके पहले let me show you that also, and then you can read. अच्छा, तो ये है Robert Hooke's microscope, but इसके पहले the first microscope that has been made was by this person, Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So he was the first biologist who had started working on magnifying aids. इनके पहले कोई magnifying aids था ही नहीं. So he had started working on magnifying aids, and this was the type of microscope that he made. और भी simple. हाँ, यहाँ पर पता ही नहीं चल रहा है कि कहाँ पे रखेंगे, क्या दिखेगा. So if you look into this, the magnifying aid is something this way. This is the eyepiece. इसका लिमिटेशन इतना कम है कि एक छोटा सा स्ट्रक्चर ही तुम खाली रख सकते हो, एंड देन विद द eyepiece सीधा तुम देख सकते हो. इतना तुम रोटेट, मतलब चेंज शेप, चेंज फोकस, कोई फैसिलिटी नहीं है इसमें. Obviously, this is one of the simplest and the first microscope that was found. Who found this? Leeuwenhoek. Anthony von Leeuwenhoek. Take the diagram in your book also. These are important structures that you have to remember because your paper में आता है, and to identify, you have to remember, you have to identify them. Microscopes. But what are microscopes? Actually, what are microscopes? What do you write? What are microscopes? Identify the type of microscope in the figure. What are microscopes? Devices which magnifying any particular structure. That can be a plant, animal, tissue, or anything. So now, Anthony van Leeuwenhoek, he had also made these microscopes, and the primitive and the most simplest microscope, and this was bettered by Robert Hooke's microscope. Okay. After some time, I'll ask you to write two differences between these two microscopes. Let us first finish with this. So I said what? Robert Hooke had actually started working on this microscope, and he observed such structures, and he found that yes, certain structures, something like a honeycomb is already there, and he started naming them as cells. And from here came the concept of cell theory. Now, Robert Hooke has done some part of it. Then came some more biologists known as Schleiden and Schwann, who had proposed the cell theory, the basic concept. What is a cell? What is it? Already we had talked about cell theory. Already हमने ये पढ़ लिया. That is what I was explaining. So cell theory of the theory, the meaning of the word theory. Within chemistry, we काफी सारे principles and theories हम पढ़ते हैं ना. That is, if I talk about the Archimedes principle, something he is explaining. Mendeleev's law of periodic table, something he is explaining. No? So, हर एक biologist, हर एक scientist, हर एक physicist, whenever they have done some experiments, they came up with some conclusion. So that is what we are talking about. यहाँ पे, in relation to this, let us now talk about the cell theory. Let us now talk about the cell theory. Who proposed? Who proposed? Matlab, when Robert Hooke was doing his work, Leeuwenhoek was doing his work, some other biologists were also doing their experiments. And they were more or less convinced with this, and they added something on their own. And then the concept of certain law came up. That is what we are talking about, cell theory. Who had proposed this? Matthias Schleiden and Leonard Schwann. We generally say Schleiden and Schwann. People are more commonly, or famous personalities are more commonly known by the surnames. So when we are talking about cell theory, who proposed? Schleiden and Schwann. What were their principles? Their first principle was cells are the structural unit. What is the second principle? Cells are the functional unit of life. Cells are the structural unit of life, functional unit of life. And now we talk about the third principle. What is the third principle? All cells arise from pre-existing cell. From pre-existing cell. But this principle was given by another biologist known as Rudolf Virchow. ये है the basic concept of cell theory. तो वैसे तो ये दो points तो हमें पता ही है, already we discussed, which was ultimately framed by Schlegel and Schwann. Robert Hooke had only coined the concept of cell, but उसके लिए भी he had spent so much in experimentation. अब जब ये cell के concepts थोड़े से थे, structure, tissues, organisms, then these biologists had added on so much from their own, and then they came up with this entire concept. ये दो, we are yet to learn about this. Write down the principles. Write down the principles. These are common basic questions. Write down the principles of cell theory. Write down the principles of cell theory. Principles of cell theory. Write down the principles. Principles. Okay. Write down next answer. Matthias Schlegel and Theodor Schwann. Spelling. देखो correct लिखो. Matthias Schlegel and Theodor Schwann. Matthias Schlegel and Theodor Schwann proposed the cell theory. You will also ask questions. Who proposed the cell theory? तो इन दोनों के नाम भी लिखना है. Matthias Schlegel and Theodor Schwann proposed the cell theory. The principles are. Principles मतलब basic laws क्या था? Basic concept क्या था? Number one, right? Exactly as I written. Number one, इसको number one, number two करके लिखा जाता है. Number one, cells are the structural unit of life. Cells are. nail polish लगाना है क्या? लगाना है nail polish. Boys should not have such long nails. क्यों इतना लंबा है nails? Cut. Okay. Boys should have short hair, chopped nails. They don't need to smart, no? Long nails कौन रखते हैं आजकल? Boys भी long nails नहीं रखते. Next time ये नहीं चाहिए. Okay. I'm very neat to the class. Write down the third also. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. यहाँ पे तो उन्हें dash देना ऐसे. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. Hyphen row. And then लिखो was proposed by. For the third point, all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Was proposed by. was proposed by Revolve. Was proposed by Revolve. ठीक है? हो गया? Done? Now, what to understand from here? Let me show you one slide. Say suppose this organism you are acquainted with, no? नाम तो सुना होगा ना इसका? Amoeba. A single cell organism. What am I trying to show you here? This cell divides to form two cells. From where did this cell come? From the division of the first cell. From where did this cell come? From the division of the first cell. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. But is this the concept only with amoeba? No, even with us, even with the plants, even with the butterfly, even with the parrot, any organism you need. The rule is the same. Complexity different hai, but rule is same. So we'll just confront it with this. What is the meaning of this? All cells arise from pre-existing cells. If I talk about our body also, this is one cell of our body. This will grow and mature first. Then what is its stage? It will divide. Two new cells formed. What will happen to these two new cells? What will happen to these two new cells? These two new cells will again grow and mature. Optimum size has to be obtained. And then what? Again divide. No? And then again divide, and then again divide, and then again divide. So what will be the fate of this cell? Again the same. Grow first, and then again divide. So यही है rule हर एक cell के लिए. Cells will grow and mature हो गया, and then they will divide. Two new cells from these two new cells again grow, mature, and divide. So ये cell कहाँ से आया? This cell has been formed from this. ये cell कहाँ से आया? This cell has been formed from this. तो हर एक cell के पीछे एक और parental cell रहेगा ना, from which that cell has formed. So this is a basic concept that we understand. Be it in the plants, be it in the animal, be it in the fish, be it in the bear, be it in the guava, be it in the apple, be it in human, any organism that you can think right now, any living part that you can think right now, develops by this method.
Only the cell dies when the cell is gone.
Only when?
Only the cell dies when the cell is gone.
The cell is not dying. Where is it dying? It is dividing. This is called cell division. It is not dying out. The cell is dividing to give rise to two new components. When the cell is dying, a cell which dies cannot divide.
What my question was that are the cells divided for the replacement of the dying one?
The cells are continually undergoing the process of division to repair. Say suppose the skin cells shedding off. So अगर shed होने के बाद repair नहीं होगा, then we will start suffering from many different type of diseases, no? तो ये shed हो रहा है, फटाफट repair भी हो जाए. But there are some cells which does not repair, something like the nerve cells. Dead है तो dead है, फटाफट और repair नहीं होगा. So ऐसा. But for the time being, we talk about this cell division. What is the meaning of cell division? Formation of a new cell from the previous. Formation of a new cell from the previous. This is the meaning. Every cell is formed from a pre-existing cell, which is applicable for the simplest organism like amoeba and the complex organism like humans. All. Understanding? Any questions? Take one question as homework. इतनी खराब टीचर है ना, पहले दिन से homework. First, only one question. I will not give you page full to write. Hardly 3 to 5 questions every lecture. Nothing more than that. The first question, as a homework, write 3 points of differences between 3 points of differences between, write 3 points of differences between living herbs. Write 3 points of difference between living herbs. Spelling check karo. Living herbs, apostrophe S. Living herbs and Robert Hooke's microscope. HOOKE apostrophe S. Write 3 points of difference between living herbs, HOEK apostrophe S. Living herbs and Robert Hooke's microscope. Done? Okay. So we'll wind today and continue again in the next lecture. By then, read this part of the chapter from your text, okay, and complete your work.